Worked 12 years for my loft. Then my family tried to take it. Here's how I fought back. My name is Liam, and I'm a 35-year-old living in Chicago. I'm here to tell you a story about family, betrayal, and the cost of building your own life. I used to believe family was a lighthouse, steady guiding a beacon through any storm. But what happens when that light blinds you, burns you, demands you drown to keep it lit? I learned the price of stepping out of that shadow. It wasn't just a loft or a dream. It was my soul smeared with betrayal and the bitter sting of spilled coffee. Before we dive in, please subscribe for more powerful stories like this and drop your lovely city or hometown in the comments. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Let's dive in. I'm a data analyst who spent 13 years crunching numbers in a New York tech firm, working 70-hour weeks, while my buddies jetted off to music festivals or posted rooftop selfies. I didn't care. I had a vision. Every skipped concert, every instant noodle dinner, every midnight coding session was for this, my fortress. A one-bedroom loft bought outright with $400,000 of my own sweat, grit, and savings. No loans, no strings attached, all mine. The place was a wreck when I got it. Cracked tiles, flickering lights that buzzed like a dying wasp, and a faint musty smell of forgotten dreams. I didn't flinch. I spent my nights sanding floors watching DIY videos, my hands blistered from wielding a crowbar against stubborn nails. This loft was my proof I could stand alone, build something solid without anyone's help. Then a text came. My dad's name flashed on my screen, his tone too casual, like a trap waiting to spring. Liam, we need you at the cabin this weekend. Family powwow. Grab some of those maple donuts from that shop near your place. I pushed back, wary. What's this about, Dad? He chuckled, being evasive. Just show up by noon. I should have seen it coming. Family gatherings at the cabin were never just barbecues. They were battlegrounds. The cabin, my grandfather's old retreat, left to me and my brother Ethan in his will, was a patchwork of memories. The good, Granddad teaching me to carve by the fire, his calloused hands steadying mine. The bad, always fading into Ethan's spotlight. The charming brother who could do no wrong. When I landed a promotion, they just nodded. When Ethan started a band that flopped, they threw him a celebration for trying. I buried the hurt, worked harder, built my life. That Saturday, the cabin was packed. Cousins, aunts, uncles sprawled across the creaky porch, sipping iced tea from mismatched glasses. Ethan sat with his girlfriend Julia, their fingers laced, her laugh too sharp. I leaned toward my cousin Tyler. Any clue what's up? He shook his head, uneasy. The air was thick like the hush before thunder. Dad stood raising his glass, his smile too tight. Big news, he boomed. Ethan and Julia. They're tying the knot. The porch erupted with whistles, claps, and backslaps. I grinned, raised my glass, happy for him despite the familiar pang in my gut. Then Dad's gaze pinned me, cold and calculated. There's more? Silence fell, my chest tightened. Liam, he said, voice heavy with expectation. You've got that fancy loft now, all to yourself. Ethan and Julia need a real home for their kid. You should hand it over. The words were a punch to the throat. My loft, the one I'd clawed my way to own. They wanted me to toss it aside like pocket change. I looked at Ethan, who stared at the floor, at Julia picking at her nails, at Mom, nodding like this was gospel truth. You're not serious, I said, my voice low and trembling. Dad's jaw tightened. You're alone, Liam. No family, no kids. They need it more. The world tilted. I stood there, my boots scuffing the wood. You want me to give up my home? The one I worked 13 years for. Because Ethan is having a kid? My voice broke, raw with shock. Don't be selfish, Liam, Mom snapped. Ethan's eyes welled up, his hand clutching Julia's. How could you do this, he choked. And then, Christ, it seared into me. Dad grabbed the coffee mug I'd set down, still steaming, and flung it. Hot liquid splashed my face, scalding my cheek, dripping down my neck. The porch went dead quiet. No apologies, no gasps, just eyes judging me like I deserved the burn. I walked away, coffee soaking my shirt, their voices clawing at my back. Ungrateful, Dad roared. You're no brother, Ethan shouted. I drove back to the city, knuckles white, the sting of coffee and fury in my throat. My phone lit up. Texts, voicemails, poison. You're a disgrace. Give them the loft. After all, we've done all they've done. I thought of the years I was invisible. The Christmases they forgot while Ethan got custom guitars. The summer they paid for his Europe trip while I worked doubles to afford college in the cabin. Granddad's cabin, half mine, where they stayed rent-free because I never demanded a cent. The next morning, I dug out Granddad's will. It was clear as day. Ethan and I owned that cabin. 50-50. They had no rights. Then I saw it. An Instagram post from Dad, public and vicious. My son Liam shows greed over his brother's growing family. Heartbroken. Pray he finds a soul. Comments rolled in, relatives piling on. Pathetic. So cold. Not one mentioned the coffee in my face. Not one asked why I should surrender my life's work. That broke me. The last thread snapped. I called a lawyer, my voice like steel. I want to sell my half of the cabin. The cabin sold fast, a lakeside gem in a hot market, $420,000 split down the middle. Ethan used his share for a condo. My parents moved in with him. Chained to a loan they'll pay past retirement. I funneled mine into investments, ETFs, real estate trusts, a future I dictate. They never reached out, never apologized. Ethan's daughter was born last week.